The room is quiet, but your mind isn't. Because there's a moment you've lived through, a moment you'd never admit out loud, where you leaned in toward a woman, touched something sacred, something emotional, something physical, and only later realized you had no idea what you were really playing with. It's that moment when her breath changed, when her eyes flickered with something you thought was desire, but it wasn't. It was something deeper, something older, something her body remembered even if she didn't speak it. And you felt it too. That sudden shift, that silent question, that invisible line you didn't know you'd crossed. That is the moment this video is about. The moment men get wrong. Not because they're careless, but because they're never taught the truth behind a woman's unspoken reactions. You've felt that tension before. The kind that coils underneath her calm voice, underneath her steady breathing, underneath the way she looks at you and pretends everything is fine. But you know better. A woman's silence is never empty. Her stillness is never simple. And her body is not a puzzle you solve by guessing. It's a language, a memory, a system wired with instinct, emotion, fear, curiosity, and desire, all braided together in ways most men never learn to read. And that's exactly why one wrong move, one assumption, one touch given without understanding the psychology behind it, can change everything. But before we go deeper, before we open that door you've tried to understand for years, take a breath with me. Welcome to Psychology of Desire, the place where we don't sugarcoat human behavior, we decode it. Where we don't chase fantasy, we dissect the truth. If you're drawn to the darker sides of attraction, the shadows behind her reactions, the hidden codes inside her desire, then make sure you subscribe. Because everything you think you know about women, emotion, and intimacy is only the surface. Now let's walk into the part no one talks about. There's a moment every woman has, when she wants you close but fears you won't understand her. When she lets you into her space, but her body is still watching you, testing you, weighing the weight of your presence. You think desire is obvious, fire, heat, closeness. But for her, desire is layered. It's woven with safety, with trust, with the smallest signals that tell her whether your touch will feel like connection or hesitation. Most men make the mistake of assuming that if she wants them, everything is green light. But the truth is darker, quieter, harder to accept. A woman's body responds even when her mind isn't ready. She might not pull away, but she hasn't leaned in either. She might not say no, but she hasn't said yes in the language that matters, the language of emotional safety. And when you touch her without understanding that language, you don't just cross a boundary. You break a moment that could have been unforgettable. You know that feeling, the way a woman's breath hitches not because she's overwhelmed with desire, but because she's overwhelmed with uncertainty. The way she freezes for half a second, hoping you'll notice. The way her muscles tighten just slightly, waiting to see if you keep going, or if you slow down enough to let her body speak. Most men never notice that pause. You, if you're here, you want to. You want to understand the difference between her desire and her discomfort, the line between pleasure and pressure, the secret that turns a simple touch into an emotional experience she'll never forget. Because here's a truth most men avoid. A woman remembers how she felt with you more than anything you ever did. And if she felt unseen, misread, rushed, your touch becomes something she avoids, not something she craves. There's a moment, right after you touch her, when the entire world shrinks into the space between your hand and her heartbeat. Most men never feel it, never notice it, never respect it. But you're here because a part of you senses that women communicate in two parallel worlds, the one they speak with their lips, and the one their body whispers without permission. And that whisper is where everything begins. You see, when you reach for a woman, whether it's her waist, her neck, her back, her lips, or anywhere more intimate, her mind doesn't just react to the touch itself. It reacts to your intention, your emotional tone, the energy in your breath, the tension in your fingers, the presence behind your stillness. Her psychology reads you in layers faster than you can form a single thought. She's not asking, "Do I like this?" She's asking, "Do I feel safe in this?" There's a world of difference, because a woman can want you deeply, intensely, and still feel uncertain in the moment. Attraction doesn't erase her instinct. Desire doesn't silence her caution. Her body might ache for you while her heart still scans you like a locked door deciding whether to open. Most men mistake her quietness for permission. But quietness is not permission. Quietness is evaluation. She's watching the way your hands move, not the action, but the pace. She's listening to the way you breathe, not the sound, but the intention. She's feeling the way you hold her, not the grip, but the meaning behind it. Because a woman doesn't want to be touched with hunger alone. She wants to be touched with awareness, with control, with presence, with the kind of depth that makes her body feel understood, not used. That's the secret most men never learn. A woman's desire grows when she feels you reading her, not rushing her. Think of the first moment your hand brushes her skin. To you, it's small. To her, it's a question. A question that asks, "Are you here with me? Or are you lost in your own desire?" And you know the truth. She can tell. She can sense when your mind is miles away, imagining the next step. She can sense when you're touching her like you've rehearsed it in your head. She can sense when your focus is on the destination instead of the moment. And that's when she retreats, not always physically, sometimes emotionally, sometimes subtly, just enough that you feel the energy shift but don't know why. You've had that moment, haven't you? Where she suddenly seemed less open, less responsive, less alive beneath your touch, where the spark dimmed for reasons you couldn't understand. This is why. Women don't respond to touch. They respond to presence, to psychological attunement, to the rare, rare man who slows down enough to feel her reaction before she says a word. And here's what most men don't realize until it's too late. Her body mirrors your energy. If you're rushed, she tightens. If you're unsure, she withdraws. If you're distracted, she disconnects. But if you're present, truly present, her body melts into yours like she's been waiting for this moment her entire life. That's the secret behind every unforgettable touch, every electric moment, every time a woman says, "I don't know what it is about him. He just makes me feel safe and desired at the same time." It's not technique, not skill, not experience. It's attunement. It's psychology. It's the emotional intelligence to understand the difference between touching her body and touching her mind through her body. And once you learn that, everything changes. There's a moment, subtle, fragile, almost invisible, when a woman decides who you are to her. It doesn't happen when you look good. It doesn't happen when you say the right words. It doesn't even happen when she feels attracted to you. It happens in that quiet psychological space where your touch meets her instinct, and her instinct begins to trust you. Most men never recognize that moment. But she does. Her entire body recognizes it. Because when you touch a woman, whether it's her arm, her hair, her hip, or something more intimate, her emotions don't react in isolation. They react in memories. Every experience she's ever had, good or bad, flashes through her nervous system in a way she can't control. Not consciously, not as stories, but as feelings, as tension, as openness, as subtle clues her body gives you, hoping you're the kind of man who can read them without needing her to explain. This is the part men misunderstand the most. Her body isn't reacting to you. It's reacting to everything she's lived before you. And whether she opens or closes depends on one very simple, very powerful thing: your emotional intelligence in that moment. Not your confidence, not your dominance, not your seduction skills. Your emotional intelligence. She wants to know that you feel the shifts, that you sense the difference between excitement and fear, that you notice when she leans in, and also when she hesitates, that you don't just touch her, You listen to her with your hands, because when a man ignores her body's subtle wait, even accidentally, something inside her freezes. Something she may not even understand. Something she'll blame herself for later. But when a man feels her hesitation before she even speaks, she lowers walls she didn't know she had. That's the secret. The one most men never learn. The one your instinct has been trying to tell you for years. Let me take you into a real moment now. One you've probably lived or will live. You're close to her. The room is dim. Her breath is warm on your neck. Her body tells you she wants you. But there's a flicker, a pause, a tightness in her shoulders so small you'd miss it if you weren't paying attention. Most men push through that moment. But the rare man, the unforgettable man, does something completely different. He slows down. Not dramatically, not theatrically, just enough for her to feel his awareness settle, like he's tuning into her frequency. Just enough for her breath to soften. Just enough for her body to tell her, he sees me. He feels me. I'm safe. When you do that, her desire doesn't just return. It deepens. Her body doesn't just respond. It opens. Her mind doesn't just accept you. It trusts you. Because now you're not touching her the way most men do. You're touching her in the way her nervous system remembers love. Slow, present, aware. Not taking, but offering. Not assuming, but listening. Not rushing, but inviting. This is what turns a moment into a memory she will replay in her mind for weeks. This is what makes her kiss linger longer. This is what makes her voice soften when she says your name. This is what makes her look at you like you're different. Because you are. And this is only the surface of the secret. Because beneath it lies something even more powerful. Something most men will never understand. Something that changes the way she bonds, trusts, and surrenders. There's a deeper layer, one most men never reach. Not because they can't, but because they never slow down enough to feel it. It's the layer where her desire stops being physical and becomes emotional. Where her body stops reacting to touch and starts responding to presence. Where her mind stops evaluating you and begins surrendering to you. This is the point where everything you've done, the awareness, the patience, the attunement, starts to transform her. Not temporarily, not momentarily, but deeply. Because when you touch a woman with presence, you're not touching her skin. You're touching her memory of safety. You're touching her fear of being misunderstood. You're touching her longing to finally feel chosen, not chased. You're touching the ache she hides behind her confidence, behind her smile, behind the way she acts like she's in control. Every woman carries that ache. Every woman hides it well. But the man who shows her he sees her, not the performance, not the mask, but her, becomes unforgettable in ways she'll never admit out loud. And this is why you can't do certain things, certain touches, certain moves, certain assumptions, unless you understand the psychology behind them. Because to her, intimacy is not just physical. It's a psychological doorway. And the way you walk through that doorway determines everything that happens next. If you rush, she shuts down. If you assume, she withdraws. If you push, she pretends. And pretending is the quietest way a woman leaves you long before she's gone. But if you slow, she softens. If you read her, she opens. If you match her pace, she lets go. And if you make her feel safe in the moment where she is the most vulnerable, where she's letting you into the parts of her body and soul that no one else gets to see, she will remember you in a way that outlives the moment itself. This is the secret behind every unforgettable connection. It's not about the touch. It's about the meaning behind the touch. It's about the man you become in that moment. Present, aware, grounded, emotionally intelligent, patient. A man who understands that a woman doesn't give her trust lightly, but when she gives it fully. And that's when intimacy becomes something entirely different. Something heavier. Something deeper. Something she feels days later when she hears your name, weeks later when she thinks about your hands, Years later, when she remembers the man who made her feel seen. That's the psychology of desire. Not fantasy, not technique, not strategy. Presence, awareness, attunement. Reading her before she speaks, feeling her shifts before she moves, understanding her pauses before she explains them. Most men never learn this, but you just did. And that's why you're not like most men. You're becoming the man she trusts, the man she opens to, the man she remembers. Thank you for watching Psychology of Desire. If this resonated with you, if it opened something inside you or made you see women differently, make sure you subscribe. Here, we don't chase shallow attraction. We decode the truth behind human desire, one layer at a time. Until next time, stay aware, stay present, stay unforgettable. If you're ready for another deep dive into the psychology of attraction, just say the word.